everyone, I'm Brianna. Welcome back to my channel. So today I'm filming my January 2018 wrap up, and I did read so many books this month. So I was gonna say this summer, and it's not summer, it's winter, unfortunately. But I do have like a week and a half left of reading, so I'm estimating I'm gonna read between probably three and four other books. Next week is my midterm week, so I wanted to film this week now because it's currently the 21st and there's like a week and a half left. So I wanted to film it now so I wouldn't be stressed out about having to film and putting it up late. But I read a ton of books this month and I want to kind of put them in my shelf now, so this is what I have. A lot of these books I did buy this month. As you know from my past videos, I tend to like reading books that I just buy. I don't know why, but I did read 19 books, physical copies, and 4 ebooks. So I'm going to start with the ebooks now. I read Sweet Little Thing by Abby Glines, which I gave a 3 out of 5. Then I read Valentine's Novella, which is book 2.5 in the Hangman series by Tilly Cole. I gave that a 5 out of 5. Absolutely love that book. I read Pennies by Pepper Winters, and I gave that a 1 out of 5. I just don't want to talk about it. It was just not good. The writing sucked. It was just horrible, guys. So bad. At least it was free, so I didn't have to pay any money for a book that I ended up not liking. And then I read Whiplash by Tabathia Kiss, which I gave a 3 out of 5. Sweet Little Thing was kind of a romance. I think he came back or something. They were friends. I don't even know. Valentine's Novella was part of the Hangman. Pennies was like, she was kidnapped and she was like held hostage. Not held hostage, but like held in his house, couldn't leave, whatever. And then Whiplash was a football romance. Now I'm going to start with the last book I finished in 2017, and it wasn't in my wrap up in December just because I didn't put it in there. I didn't think I was gonna finish it, but I finished this the 31st of December, right? There's 31 days, and I was so happy, and it is Cowboy Hat by Harper Sloan. This is book 3 in the Coming Home series. This follows Clayton, who is the eldest Davis, and what is happening in his life, and I love this book. This book is probably my favorite out of the series. I think I gave it a 5 out of 5 or 4 out of 5, but I think I did cry in this book, and it was super good. The writing was amazing, and I don't think she's writing anything else in this book because this is the last Davis sibling, so we'll see. And then the first book I read in 2018, which I finished in a day, was Brave by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is book 3 in the Wicked trilogy. And there is a novella that's coming out this summer, I believe, in August. But this was so good. The ending was great. I do wish there were a couple more things I could change about the book, but I think I gave this a 4 out of 5 on Goodreads. And like always, my reviews for everything are linked down below in my Goodreads account. Just request to be my friend, and then you can look at what I've read. But I really love this book. I do hate how dark it is just because it doesn't match the other 2 books in the series. But I did really enjoy it, and I can't wait for the next book because it's exploring a character that I didn't think I would have liked. But definitely continue on in the series because you want to kind of wrap up everything about what happened. The next book I read is a library book, and it's Such a Pretty Girl by Tess Diamond. This was kind of picked up on a whim. I kind of just go to the library, browse, and then if I see something I like, I check it out. But this was actually pretty good. I was going to rate it a 5 out of 5, but I gave it a 4 just because this plot line was really good. It's just the details of the job wasn't good. This is a FBI thriller. She is the FBI's top profiler. And there's stuff obviously that happened to her back then, and it's coming to light now. And there's a special agent that's involved that is new to the team and all that. But how they described her and the people getting positions in the FBI is very historically inaccurate. So that kind of bothered me. And if you aren't like interested in becoming, I guess, like something federal. Like, I want to be a medical examiner, preferably in a federal agency. So I think that's why a lot of these details irked me, because I know they're not true. And it's not true that a 16-year-old girl would get recruited, because you can't do that. It's not legally possible. But I don't know. It was good, like, content-wise, but accuracy of facts, it wasn't the best. The next book I read, I absolutely loved, and it's The Ones Who Got Away by Ronnie Lauren. I was seeing this a lot on Bookstagram photos. I mean, because, come on, the cover, guys. But this guy, literally, beautiful human being. I need to know who this guy is. But this book is so much more than this cover. This follows these group, I think there's about 5 or 6 of them, who come back to their old high school to film a documentary. And what happened at the old high school that you find out is that there was a school shooting, and most of their class, I think of 2005, ended up dying. So they come back 12 years later, and they're all in different points of their life, but a lot of them still have PTSD, or they're too scared to, like, move on and, like, be riskier with their life and what they're doing. So they're not really 100% satisfied, but you find out he's a FBI agent, so it's kind of like, that's interesting. But his main thing is, the reason why he got into the FBI is he wants to stop the people that sold guns to, to the kids that shot up his high school. So I thought that was very interesting. And she works as a web design, she works for a web design company, but she's not really satisfied with that. But I love this book. It was so emotional, and the one reason I liked it, not just because obviously they end up falling in love and getting together, just like seeing the reality of PTSD and what it actually does to someone. I thought this book was very good with exploring that, and I absolutely loved it. I gave it a 5 out of 5, and I did cry at the ending, and there's so many quotable quotes in this book, like, I can't rave about it enough. But the next book isn't coming out until June, so at least it is this year, because I don't have to wait that long, but it's coming out in June, and it's called The One You Can't Forget, which is about Rebecca, who is also in this book and a survivor, but I 100% recommend this book. The next book I read was Love and Gelato by Jenna Evans Welch. I got this in the summer, and I never read it, and I don't know, this month was like a good, like, quality reading month for me, and a good quantity, so I kind of just wanted to read this book because I was in the mood to read books. So I read it. I enjoyed it. It wasn't like the best book, but it wasn't the worst book. It was very interesting. There were a lot of plot twists in it that I didn't expect, but this follows a girl whose mother passes away from cancer, and she goes to live with her mother's friend, Howard, I believe his name is, and in Italy. So she's from the US, and she goes to Italy because her mother spent like a semester in Italy or something for college or high school, and she discovers her mother's journal, and she goes on all these adventures to figure out her mother's past. And I did enjoy it. It wasn't the best book, but it was a nice read to separate all my depressing and emotional reads I read this month. The next 2 books I read, I'm going to group them together, and it's Stay With Me and Run Away With Me by Mila Gray. I liked the first 2, so this is the second book, this is the third book. The first 2 books I liked because it did deal with the military. The third book, the reason why I was disappointed with it is because there's no military at all. I don't think she was even in the other books, and it kind of just annoyed me because they're supposed to be together, like they're standalones, but they kind of linked together, so it annoyed me. But I did like it because he was a famous hockey player, but it was okay. It kind of fell flat for me. This book is great as always. I gave it a 4, but I think I gave this like a 3.5. It was okay. Still disappointed with how they don't really connect as much. So I was kind of confused with how they are related, but I guess I'll figure it out eventually. The next book I read is All Lined Up by Cora Carmack. This is a reread for me. I believe this was on my channel before, or I read it after, I don't know, but this is Cora Carmack's first football romance, and I liked it. It was good. You can definitely tell it needs some work, and I do agree that the books, like book 3 in the series, is probably the best for me. But this series has been getting pushed off because she has been having some health problems. But Cora is actually going to BookCon, which, if you guys don't know, I'm actually going to BookCon again this year. So BookCon 2018, it is in New York City again, and I live in New York, so it's easy to access for me. But I definitely want to meet her and hopefully get some books that I have from her signed. But this one was okay. I literally just finished reading Blood and Sand by C.V. Wick, I think that's how you pronounce it, this morning. And this cover, guys, if there's no glare on it, is so pretty. And I picked it up from the library because I didn't really know what to expect, but it had Rome attached to it, and I love, like, ancient Greece, ancient Rome, anything in that, like, European area. But this book was so much better than I thought. They take on the role of Spartacus. If you guys don't know, Spartacus is kind of like a slave who rebelled and freed a whole bunch of other slaves, but he was like a gladiator, and they make it a female. So the tagline on the front, it says, "Forged in battle, from the dust of the arena, a legend will rise." And I really enjoyed this book. I hated the ending because the ending left you in such a cliffhanger and just irked me so much, guys. Hated it. But I definitely want to read the next book, and it's not coming out till 2019, so I'm kind of annoyed. But I'm thinking I may purchase this from my bookstore because I really did enjoy it, and I love these types of books, but I do recommend it. The history could have been a little better, and the character development could be a little bit better, but overall, I thought this was a solid novel. Sorry, guys, I got a lot of books. The next book I read was You Don't Know My Name by Kristen Orlando. I picked this up in like August or September, I think, and I never read it, but this is about a girl whose family is like part of the CIA's secret agency. So they're kind of like, the government doesn't even, like, the president stuff doesn't even know they exist, so they do like the top secret investigations, and she's caught between continuing her future of if she wants to do that, or like hanging out with the boy that she just met, and not just met, but like she's friends with, and she really likes him and all that stuff. So I thought this was really good, and it was a lot better than I thought it would be. Like, I picked it up because it sounded okay, but I read it and I got so into it. I think I gave this a 4, and the next book I think is coming out this month. I think it's already out, so I'm happy I waited to read it because I definitely want to read the next book. But so the ending of this book is so sad, and I didn't expect it. Like, I knew something would happen, but I didn't expect it to actually happen because it was too sad. But I really recommend this book. It was a great, like, quick read for me, but I also read quick things, and it is short. It's like 300 pages, but super excited. I think it's just gonna be, what do they call the two novels? A duology. A duology. But yeah, this book is great. The next book I read was Breaking the Ice by Julie Cross. I enjoyed it. Nothing really crazy in this book. I liked this book better than the first book. I can definitely say that. And I believe she's writing another book from the series, but this is a YA book about hockey. The next book I read was Dune by Carrie Corp and Lori Langdon. I really liked the first half of this book, but the second half fell short for me. Towards the end, I was kind of just like fast, like really skimming, and I just kind of wanted to get it done, and it just wasn't the greatest. When I read like the beginning, I put all the rest of the series on like wanna read on Goodreads, so like on my TBR, but after like I finished it, I was kind of disappointed. And this is a Scottish book about, so that's why I thought I would like it, because it's Scotland. But McKenna and Veronica go to Scotland for a summer, and they discover a hidden journal that I think one of her aunt that just passed away left, and they find a hidden castle and everything, and it was okay. It wasn't the greatest. The next book I read is Love, Life, and the List by Casey West. I really enjoyed this book. This is one of her better books, and I feel like Casey West is an author, for me, like Colleen Hoover is. I either like the book or I don't like the book. This one was a solid book. Some of the characters did get annoying. I liked her, but what's his face? Cooper. Why I always forget when a character's name is Cooper. I don't know why. But I thought it was really good. This is about a girl who gets told her artwork has no heart in it, so she makes a list of things to do to help her get her artwork better. And I thought it was okay. It wasn't her greatest book, but a lot of Casey West's earlier books, for me, I like a lot better. But this was good. And lastly, I literally read the whole Hangman series this month, and I have no regrets at all. So what ended up happening was I bought the first 3 books, and I like sped through them, and they're like 600, 700 pages each book, so I was kind of surprised that I read every single one this month. But I did have 2 snow days this month, so that factored into a lot of my reading. But yeah, and I'm so upset because the 6th book was announced, but there's no release date yet, and I'm like so stressed out because I need the 6th book. But this book, oh, so good, guys. If you like dark romance or you want to kind of try it, 100% you got to read this. But the first book is Aint Me Babe by Tilly Cole. I gave this a 5 out of 5. Loved Styx and May. I call her May. But I loved this book. It was just so great. But if you guys want to see my reviews on them, they're in my Goodreads, so definitely check it out because I don't want to make this video too long talking about these books. But these are dark romances with a motorcycle club and a cult. So that's why I kind of picked them up. So the first book is Aint Me Babe. I gave 5 out of 5. The next book is Heart Recaptured. Obviously, they're all by Tilly Cole. This is the second book. I gave it a 4 out of 5. The next book was my favorite book, and it's Souls Unfractured by Tilly Cole. I didn't expect to like it this much, but it was so good. Guys, like, come on. And my review, like, I don't want to review this book because I feel like I have to review the other books, but I feel like I have to talk about it. The main character, he actually has some sort of autism or Asperger's. You don't really know because it's not related, but I have, oh my gosh, like, this book, guys, this book was so emotional, and it's just a lot. Like, I can't even talk about it because it's just so good. I cried so many times. There's probably like my tears in this book. And this is such a good book, and it's such a good representation of how someone with autism feels about a lot of stuff. And he's been through so much crap, and it's just, this book is so good. I really can't, like, literally the whole time on the couch, I'm crying. Like, I'm reading, so I read this book, like, my reading spot is either downstairs in my living room on my couch or upstairs in my room. That's where I kind of just read. So I was downstairs reading, and I'm literally hysterical crying, and I'm like, oh my God, Mom, look what he says. Oh my God, Flame is making me cry. And then my dad is sitting on the chair next to me. He looks at me, and he's like, what? Like, he's giving me this face, like, what the heck? How are you getting so sad about characters in a book? And I just, guys, like, I really can't, like, I can't talk about this book so much because there's so many spoilers in it, and you have to read the first 2, but this book, honestly, this is probably going to be my favorite book of 2018, and it's only January, and this was, like, the 3rd or 4th book I read in January, but this is it, guys. This book is my favorite book. I'm just calling it now. The next book is Deep Redemption, and I gave this book a 4 out of 5. Then Damnable Grace, I think I gave this a 5 out of 5, but these covers are beautiful. And then I read I Do Babe, which is someone's wedding. I'm not gonna say whose, but I was so disappointed because of how short this book is. Like, I get it's a novella, but Tilly Cole, like, this book is all I have to wait until the next book is announced. Like, But yeah, I'm thinking, honestly, this is probably my new favorite series, and that's, like, a first because that, like, beats out, like, Aquabor and everything, and I don't know how I feel about that. I'm trying to come to terms with that, but sorry, guys. This video was crazy, and I did read a lot this month, so I'm sorry that this video is going to be so long, but thank you guys for subscribing, and I'm definitely going to put up my Q&A, and a book haul, so I don't know if those will come before or after this video, but thank you guys for liking and subscribing and commenting. I want to know what you guys have read this month, or like your favorite book of 2018 so far. Leave it down below in the comments. Bye guys!